So Fanttik claims this X9 Ultra has the same or maybe even better performance than the M18 inflator here. So we'll test that along with the new hyper tough, Ridgid, Stihl, and Worx, Etenwolf, and see how they all perform. So just like previous testing, I inflated this 195 75R 14 to 35 PSI. That way we can kind of gauge the performance of each of these inflators. So the Hyper Tough comes with that 1.5, and you can also buy a 2, a 4, and a 6 now. If you are running a 6-cell pack, it does reduce that time by roughly a minute. The Worx when kitted comes with a 2 amp hour, and of course you can buy a 4 and an 8, but in all reality the performance here is about the same. Similar story here with the Ridgid. Yes, you do gain a little better performance as you go up in better battery packs, but overall about the same here. So when you compare these inflators here with previous inflators tested in other videos using the kit batteries, the M18 here is still on top, coming in at 1 minute and 58 seconds, followed there close by the Fanttik at 2 minutes and 10 seconds, and then the Makita 40 volt with 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Rounding out the bottom though, we have the Avid Power, the Hyper Tough, and sadly the Stihl here. Doing the same test with the best available battery, again that M18 on top, reducing that time to 1 minute and 30 seconds, followed by the Fanttik again here with 2 minutes and 10 seconds, and then the 40 volt Makita there at 2 minutes and 25 seconds. Things do change a little bit on the bottom end. The Hyper Tough moves up, then we have the Avid Power, followed again by the Stihl here. Now the Ridgid Dual inflator comes with that 12 volt cable, and here it inflated that tire at 6 minutes and 10 seconds. Actually a little bit better than the Ridgid handheld. So for a higher pressure test, I inflated this 5-gallon tank to 90 PSI. With this, I factored in the duty cycle, which is recommended by some of these manufacturers. Again, M18 on top, 2 minutes 51 seconds. Fanttik right there behind it at 2 minutes 58 seconds. And then again we have the Makita 40 volt at 4 minutes 21 seconds. Surprisingly followed by the Worx here, then the Etenwolf, the Walt, Hyper Tough, and the Ridgid Dual, which is quite surprising here. I ran this test multiple times and we ended up being at 7 minutes, but when we factor in the duty cycle, which you're supposed to abide by, it pushes it out to 12 minutes of course here with the 5 minute on, 5 minute off. So I tested the large inflation as well. And just like previous testing with these, they're pretty much all the same here. There's no real big gain. They all inflate the mattress at around the same time. So here you can listen to each one of these to determine how noisy they are. And I did capture the max dB along with the hose for tire inflation, large inflation, if it has a 12 volt cord, and the weight of the tool only. Stihl KOA20, tool-wise MSRP $100, kit-wise MSRP $160, comes with that 2.6 amp hour battery. Overall, what you expect here, build quality looks pretty good. Rubberized grip, rubberized base here. In the base, you'll find that hose for the large inflator, along with a couple small adapters there. Hose is wrapped around the inflator. It is a screw-on brass style connection. Large inflator out and in here on the back. 7 buttons, battery indication with 3 levels. I will say the display here is a little bit fuzzy in my opinion. So you have the desired setting, actual pressure, what mode you're in, and of course the units. Units can be changed there from PSI to bar to KPA. Mode can be changed, of course, from inflating a tire to the large inflator mode. Below that, we have the plus or minus here to change that setting, and the play/pause button there to start the inflation. Small little LED on the front there. Yeah, performance-wise, this didn't do the greatest. Partially, I think that's to do with the battery. You can only get a 2.6 amp hour battery. If it was a 6-cell battery, performance would probably come up a little bit, but seeing how this is configured here, I doubt we'll actually see that. And you'll notice with the GTA 40 small saws running 2 batteries there versus running 1 larger battery. Ridgid, tool only MSRP of $100, has a couple different kits out there with the 2 amp hour max, it's roughly $190. Overall looks pretty good. You do have a carrying handle. On the bottom, rubberized feet along with the large inflator hose. Then on the side we have the outlet and inlet there for large inflation, along with this small compartment which stores those accessories along with the wire for 12 volts, which plugs in here on the back using that EC5 connection. Big improvement here over the handheld version with a screw-on brass connection. Overall, very similar operation to the smaller handheld. So we have 4 buttons and a rotary dial. Manual mode, you would just activate it and hold it. For desired setting, you're going to turn that scroll wheel and it's going to show you the actual current pressure. And to start the process, you're going to hit the play/pause button. To change to large inflator, you're just going to hit mode and it changes to large inflation. Also equipped with this LED light here. Overall though, I'm not really impressed. Performance-wise, it's almost identical to the handheld. The only thing we really gained here, rubber feet, and that brass connection versus the plastic one there. But if you're not using large inflation, in my opinion, you're better off with the handheld. Etenwolf Vortex S6 here with an MSRP of $160. On the back you have those accessories along with the large inflator hose, USB-C in and out there for charging, and a USB-A port out. Here's the input and output specs for the ports. So on the back we have that USB-C and USB-A, and we're pulling a combined roughly 54 watts here. With the MacBook at 19.79 volts, pulling 2.21-ish amps, and the DeWalt battery at 5.20 volts, pulling 2.11 amps. So here we just have a charging indicator, and from the meter on my adapter there, we're pulling 20 volts, 2 amps, so 40 watts. And the same can be said using the wall adapter it comes with, so 20 volts, 2 amps, 40 watts. On the side here we have that large inflation in and out, and wrapped around the front, you'll find this rubber hose, screw style brass connection. Screen in the center here with a rotary dial, just like the Ridgid there, with 4 buttons here around it. So holding that start pause button, it powers up. We have the manual setting mode here with the gear. Hit mode again. Car mode, it's preset to 35. Truck mode, it's preset to 85 here. RV mode, it's set to 90. Then we have basketball inflation, large inflator, and bicycle inflation. So your desired PSI, actual PSI, and battery indication. And it's pretty simple here to adjust that pressure. Unit buttons below, so we're in PSI. It'll display KPA along with bar. So one thing that's really cool about this, if we start it, you've seen that status ring light up. And the last button here, we have light. Small little LED light there on the handle. We hit it again for brighter. One more time, flashing there, and SOS. Comes with a USB-C to C cable and a 45 watt USB-C adapter, which actually does produce 45 watts. And it comes with this soft storage case. So overall, yeah, quite impressive performance here. I definitely wasn't expecting that from this. So the Worx tool only is roughly $70 MSRP. Kitted with a 2 amp hour, you're coming in at around 100. Accessories there on the front, has the old style clamp down connection, rubberized feet there on the base, 4 buttons, units across the top. So if you hold the plus or minus at the same time, you can change there from PSI to bar to KPA to KGCM. Desired setting, actual setting, pretty simple there. You're just gonna adjust that with the plus or minus. And to start it, you're gonna hit the play/pause button. Does have a light on the front here with a button on the side, standard light, brighter, and then SOS here, which is actually flashing in red. So yeah, overall, I was kind of actually surprised by the performance here. I definitely think this is a decent option if you're running Worx. Hyper Tough can only be purchased as a kit for $40 with a 1.5 amp hour battery. Accessories there on the back. Hose with that old style clamp-on connection. 5 buttons here below the display. So if we power it up, we have a battery status indicator with 4 bars. So the units can be changed by holding the mode button. So PSI, bar, KPA. Clicking the mode button, we cycle between bicycle, basketball, regular operation, car, motorcycle. It's pretty simple to adjust that desired PSI. You're just going to use the plus or minus. And then to start the inflation, you're just going to hit the power button. Light-wise, decent LED there on the front. Hit it again, and it actually flashes red there. Yeah, not the best performance. Again, it is 12 volts here. But overall, for the price, it's pretty impressive, being that it's only $40. Fanttik X9 Ultra with an MSRP of $200. Rubberized feet, accessories stored in this compartment, along with the hose wrapped around the base here. Brass screw-style connection. Large screen here on top, hold the power button, it powers it up. Battery indication, desired setting, actual reading. So if you hold the mode button, it'll cycle between PSI, KPA, bar. You can adjust that setting up and down using that plus or minus. And if you single hit the mode button, you have preset 1, preset 2, preset 3, and preset 4. Very similar there to the Milwaukee, along with that same auto pressure check there, just like the M18. If we hit the light button, we have an amber light, 2 LEDs, and also the LEDs will flash. Opposite side, it has the USB-A out, USB-C in and out here, C1, USB-C out, C2. So here's the specs on the back of the box for the input and output of those USB ports. So pulling maximum from all 3 ports, I get roughly 89 watts out. And when I add all the meters up here, that's within a couple watts. So the MacBook here pulling off a C1, 20 volts, around 3 amps. The Anker battery pack at 9 volts, roughly 2 amps. And then I'm charging this DeWalt battery at 5 volts, roughly 2.4 amps there off of the USB-A. Similar story here during charging. It shows the input watts of 65. Pulling out of my wall adapter, reading around 20 volts, 3 amps. Along with this, it shows how long it'll actually take to fully charge. And it comes with a USB-C to C cable. Overall, I was quite impressed here by the performance, slotting in right under the Milwaukee there. For the most part, the performance is actually right there with it. If you're curious about some general specs, I'd say go ahead and pause it here. So yeah, there you have it. Etenwolf here. I was surprised by this, along with the Hypertough for the size here and price tag. Ridgid, on the other hand, not impressed here at all. Basically, they must have put the handheld components in here along with adding a large inflator. Again, really, you're only gaining the better connector there being brass instead of that plastic one, and some rubberized feet here. So yeah, the Fanttik, absolutely shocked. If you're not using Milwaukee, I definitely highly recommend taking a look at this, considering the performance you get for the amount of money. Honestly, to me, the only drawback is the internal battery, but that's roughly a 4.5 amp hour when you're talking 18 to 20 volts there. They did reach out to me like a month ago and were wanting to send me this, but of course, you know, I purchase all the tools, so it's definitely 100% unbiased. And they had claimed that it could potentially beat the Milwaukee, and honestly, I didn't believe that one bit. But from the testing, it's right there with it for the most part until you use that 12 amp hour forged battery, which gives the M18 a little bit of boost there. But you've seen the interface, quite similar with 4 modes and that True Fill technology, and you get the additional benefit here of the USB-C ports out. Links will be below like normal. Let us know if you have any of these and how they work for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.